We're ready? We are live. This video we are talking about. In this video, you will be learning how to create a Power BI report using one of my favorite topics, and that's driving fast cars. That's driving fast cars. You're going to learn how to create a Power BI report using cars. And this is going to be a four-part series. This is going to be a four-part series where we're going to be gaining our street MBA in business intelligence using Power BI, using cars to learn how to create a Power BI report. So we're going to jump right in here. Now, the one thing that I do want to say is this. Creating a Power BI report, we are not going to just be jumping in and grabbing visualizations and all of that kind of stuff, right? Basically, one of the questions that I always get when it comes to creating a Power BI report is, where do I get the information from? How do I know what is the how do I know what information or what data that I need to bring into the Power BI report? So what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the data, where we're grabbing the data, what type of data we're going to grab first, and then we're going to jump into grabbing the data or getting the data, as we say in Power BI or in business intelligence. So the first thing we're going to do here is I'm going to bring you over. Let's see. I want to bring this report or this page over. Let me see. Something's going on here. Why am I not seeing camera 2? I'm not seeing camera 2, and that's one of the things about going live is you got to make sure everything is intact before you go and jump into what you're jumping into. And I did not have camera 2 intact, so I am now going to bring in camera 2 when I get it. There we go. It's maximized. And here, basically the car we're going to be, well, not the car, but we're talking about the automobile industry. We're talking about the automobile industry. We're going to be looking at today the Dodge, the Dodge Chrysler Jeep company. We're not going to dive too deep into it. The information that we're going to use today is going to be coming from the actual Dodge website. I'm not going to be making anything up on that nature. The actual data that we're going to be using, we are going to be, let me get myself on screen here. We're going to be using fictitious data that I created, myself and my team created, in order to provide you with a realistic view of what creating a Power BI report using data from the automobile industry actually is. And I've got something just popping up here on my screen that I don't want to be here. So basically what we are looking at here is the Dodge website. And the reason why we're here is because, for instance, if you're out on the project, you're out on the site and you're like, hey, I don't even know where to start. What type of information does this company even like to have? What kind of information does this company like to have, like to view in their reports? And typically you can look at a company's website and you can pretty much determine, hey, this is the type of information that would be beneficial for this organization. Now, sometimes when I do these types of what I call the MBA series, when I do the MBA series, I typically will go through the website and then I'll go through the annual report, the quarterly reports, just to give you some idea of the whole kit and caboodle of what I would think about what these guys are looking for when it comes to creating a Power BI report. However, we're not going to go through the annual report, quarterly report, stuff like that today, because that's not necessarily what this is about. This is just a class on creating a Power BI report. We're just using the fictitious date. We're just using the automobile industry as a whole. We're using Dodge in this particular video to talk about, some of the things that Dodge may be looking at when they create, if you work for Dodge or work for any one of the automobile companies in the automobile industry, whether it be the new cars, manufacturing cars, or used cars, rental cars, it could all fall in the same mindset. But as we talk over the next few videos, we'll see, because again, this is going to be a 4-part video series. This is video number 1 of a 4-part video series that we're creating for learning how to create a Power BI report using the automobile industry. Now, the reason why I come to the website is because I just want to get information. I just want to get information about the company that we're talking about. I want to get information about this particular company that we're talking about, that we are going to be researching here. So I'm going to let's see. Go to a bigger view here so I can see more of the screen. So the first thing I want to do is I want to see, okay, what kind of products do these guys sell? And I'm going to go to the drop down and I'm going to see, hey, they got the Charger 2-door, the Charger 4-door, the Durango, and the Hornet. I'm sure they probably sell a few more cars than this, but these are the 4 primary cars that they have on their site. So, well, the first cars that they do have on their site. So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, cool. I definitely, I've got an idea. The Charger 2-door, the Charger 4-door, the Durango, and the Hornet. Then what else is important to these guys when it comes to this? It looks like the manufacturer suggested retail price, the MSRP. So the Charger 2-door is $49,995. The Charger 4-door is $51,995. The Durango is $38,495, and the Hornet is $31,400. So with that, I'm like, okay, well, cool. I know these 3 types of cars that they have 4 types of cars. I guess they got the Charger 2-door and the Charger 4-door. I guess they're calling them the same picture, I guess. But anyway, so these 4 cars are, the initial cars they have on this site. Then they have, those prices of the cars. So I guess that is the next thing that they feel is important when it comes to these cars and the information needed. And I probably should have stayed where I was because I started clicking, and clicking got me nowhere. So now I see that the next thing that they have on their site is shopping tools. So, what's important to me here with shopping tools? There's nothing important here. There's nothing to me as a Power BI developer. There's nothing important here when it comes to shopping tools. So I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to go right along, and let's see, vehicles. I'm going to go over to Dodge Muscle. And when I get to Dodge Muscle, I see that it says high octane performance, performance electrified. So I'm not too concerned there. That's not anything I think needs to go on a Power BI report. Services is something that does need to go into a Power BI report, because services is something that can be sold in addition to the actual product. So when I look at services overview, what exactly is under the service overview? The Dodge brand services, So services that they offer is financing, insurance, flex care vehicle protection, authentic Mopar accessories, Dodge brand merchandise, connected services. So now I see that the primary services that they have is the financing, the insurance, and the flex care. The reason why this is important to me when it comes to creating a Power BI report is because, one, I want to know how much money we can make, when we offer these services. Financing, how much money are we going to make off of financing, whatever those percentages are when it comes to financing. Insurance, can we offer insurance? And if we can offer insurance, how much money can we make when we offer the insurance? The services is definitely important. Flex care vehicle protection. And as we can see here, we've got the children in the back of the vehicle. And the one thing that gets to the hearts of the parents is how safe are my children? How safe are my children? So I've got the flex care protection plan here. I don't know what the flex care protection plan here is, but just based off of this picture, based off of this image, it makes me believe that we're able to offer a service that is going to protect the children or anyone else that's in the vehicle, but definitely protecting the children is what we're trying to wrap our arms and our hearts around when we're pleading to the parents to, hey, you need to buy this particular service. So with those 3 being at the top, I know that those are the 3 main services that we need to offer, we need to show on the Power BI report. Then we have additional services, the authentic Mopar accessories. So just based off of this name, I'm going to believe that they're going to be accessories that you can place on or in your vehicle. Here we are able to place our bicycles on top of the vehicle. So those would be considered the Mopar vehicle, the Mopar accessories. So, how much can we make on the Mopar accessories? How much have we made on the Mopar accessories? How many Mopar accessories have we sold? What is the range of Mopar accessories that we have sold? Those are the types of things that we want to place on the Power BI report, because those are things that are important to this particular customer. This customer wants to know, hey, he wants to know how many different Mopar accessories are there. He wants to know, or she wants to know. They want to know how many accessories are there. They want to know how many accessories were sold. They want to know what is the volume of what is the sales volume of the Mopar accessories that were sold. In addition to, this particular customer has Dodge brand merchandise. They have Dodge brand merchandise. So they want to sell merch. They want to sell merch. You probably never think about it. When you go buy a car, you probably never think about, also buying a t-shirt, or also buying a sweatshirt, or buying a baseball cap or a mug when you purchase that car or that Dodge vehicle. But that's very important to this customer. In addition to, that customer may give these items away depending on the sales volume of what is being sold. For instance, if a vehicle is sold for over $70,000, they may give that customer a jacket, a cap, or a mug, or a t-shirt. They may give those items away, but we want to capture that information in Power BI. We want to show, how much was given away, how much was sold, how much of that was in sales volume, and how much of that was in giveaway volume in terms and respects to dollars. So those are some of the things that we also want to know. Connected services, as we can see here, hands-free services. If the vehicle is lost, if the vehicle is stolen, if the vehicle has a wreck out in the middle of nowhere and you need to be able to get in contact with someone, is there a service that's provided within the vehicle that allows the driver or the owner of the car to be able to contact the driver to be able to contact back to Dodge or some other service? Those are some of the things that we need to take into consideration when we are building out our Power BI reports, because these are things that are serious to this customer, because these are some of the things that pop right out at us right when we first start digging into the Power BI report. Charging at home. If we have an electric vehicle, are we able to provide services to charge at home? Or are we able to provide, not necessarily the service to provide at home? Well, I guess it would be the service. Well, not necessarily the service, because your service would be electrical service at your home, but the actual charging stations, are we able to provide the charging stations to the customers that are purchasing the car? We want them to be able to charge their car at home. We want to make them feel like, hey, the best thing that they can do is charge their car at home. That's what's important for this particular customer. They want to be able to sell this product to the customer. Therefore, how many of these products were sold? How many of these products were offered? How much did these products cost? How much did we make on these products? That is very important to this particular customer. Dodge brand owners sites, giving this customer immediate availability to having access to other Dodge dealerships around the country as they are traveling. These are things that are available to the customer. Is this going to be a free service, or is it a paid service? I see here that it's an app, but do they need to pay for the app? Is the app included in the price of the car? If the app is included in the price of the car, we want to break that out so that the company can see, hey, we sold the app service, we sold the charging service, we sold brands, we sold merch, we sold caps, hoodies, we sold sweatshirts, we sold ball caps, we sold mugs. In addition to, we sold cars themselves. Okay, so all of those things that we feel are important to the customer, those are the things that we need to be able to provide inside the Power BI report. Those are some things that you may not get directly from the customer initially, because they don't know exactly what they want to see when it comes to a Power BI report. They just know that they want to meet the times and not get left behind, and have the most advanced technology when it comes to the automobile industry and definitely with business intelligence. So the one thing that I do when I'm not given a whole lot of instructions is I go to the website and I identify who this customer is, what this customer does, and then I build out a Power BI report based on the website. I build out a Power BI report based on the website because again, sometimes you'll get called in to build out a Power BI report and they may not even give you the information. They may just say, hey, build me a Power BI report. So we have to start somewhere, and then I guarantee you, once you get started, then you're going to see, or then you're going to provide those reports to the customer, and then the customer is going to say, oh, I didn't know Power BI could do that. Can it do this as well? And your answer probably is going to be, yes, it can do that. And you're going to probably get a series of questions over a period of a couple of days or maybe a week or so. You're going to get a series of questions, and those questions are going to be, can it do this? Can I do that? Can it do this? Can it do that? And you're going to probably say yes and yes and yes. But sooner or later, you're going to get to the point you're going to be like, yeah, no, it's not necessarily quite there yet. And you've got to be honest with the customer. You have to be honest with the customer 100% of the time and let them know, hey, if either you're not sure it can do it or it cannot do it, right? If you're not sure it can do it, I'm not sure, but I'll get back to you on it. Or you say, hey, Power BI is not there yet, right? It does a lot of things, but it's not there yet. It's important to get that across because oftentimes once we start presenting technology to the customers and we start making it do different things and the bells and whistles start whistling and it gets real fancy, they really believe that it can do anything, and everything that you ask for it to do, it can get done. And that is not the case. That is not the case at all. So I just wanted to be very clear when it comes to that. So again, we're not going to go through everything here on the website. This is just to give you a starting point. This is just to give you a starting point of what you can do once you get started on your Power BI report. Now, here's the deal, baby. Here's the deal. So please remember this. Let's see, before I do that, I don't know why that just happened. Either. Okay, give me 1 second. Again, that is one of the issues when going live. And it appears that let's see. I am going to need to grab the report. It's on another HDMI page, and I'm going to need to grab that report first. And that didn't work. And that's okay. That is 100% okay. Oh, there we go. I thought I had deleted it. I did save it. That's one thing about technology. When it comes to technology, you got to make sure that you have saved your information because it will disappear on you for life, right? So what I am going to do is we are going to drop out of this, out of the website, and we are going to bring the Power BI report in itself. Now, again, what I do want to highly emphasize is this. The data that's going to be in here is not Dodge data. This is not Dodge data. This is data that is definitely directly from myself and my team as we created it for the Power BI, created it for this particular Power BI presentation. This is not going to be Dodge data. Now you'll be able to see over here to the left, these are the tables. These are the tables that are already brought in for this particular report. But you may be saying, how did you get that data already? How did you get that data already in the Power BI report? And that is an excellent, excellent question. That is a question that I would be asking if I didn't already know. So, given that this is an entry-level course for Power BI, you definitely need to know one key term is get data. And it's right here, get data. In business intelligence as a whole, get data. It's very, very simple. It's very, very simple, but it's probably the most important command when it comes to, or the most important function when it comes to business intelligence, because we have to do what? We have to get data. So I'm just going to click get data, and dun, 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 I actually have it as an Excel file. I am going, let's see here. What did I just do? I am going to go to get the file from my Excel file, and let's see here. You bring this file back over here because it is slowing me down. Let's see, Power BI. Oh, I've already got it. So I went to get data, and I went to my file, and I opened up my Excel file. Let me jump back onto the screen. So when I got data, and I went to my Excel file and I brought it back in. Now here's the deal. You can use several different data sources. You can use several different data sources when it comes to Power BI. So I'm going to show you here that when I go over to get data, let me close it out of my file here first. I'm going to go to get data. And when I go to get data, now we see that we have all of these are data sources. As we see here, it says common data sources, Excel workbook, Power BI semantic models, data flows, Dataverse, SQL Server, analysis services, CSV files, web, OData, blank query. These are the common data sources. There are even more data sources. There are a lot of data sources when it comes to being able. All of these are data sources that you can use to grab data from when it comes to Power BI. At the end of the day, as long as you know where the data is, and knowing where the data is basically what is the data source. As long as you know where the data is, which is the data source, once you bring that data into Power BI, working with Power BI, it's pretty much the same. Matter of fact, it's the same, right? Once you bring it into Power BI, it doesn't matter where the data is coming from. You handle the data the same way. So I don't want you to, I know sometimes, they'll say, are you used to working with Snowflake? Or you used to working with SQL? What are the data sources you're used to? Listen, man, I'm telling you, when you bring the data into Power BI, it is all the same. When you bring data into Power BI, it's all the same. It's just a matter of where the data is coming from. And many times that be the initial hang up on a project of getting access, getting the credentials. When I say the credentials, the username and passwords, the database of the data source, those be the biggest hangups when it comes to the initial phases of building out a Power BI report. Intermittently, there are issues when it comes to the data there could be issues when it comes to the data because someone could be messing around in the database and they could accidentally remove your credentials. They could accidentally break the source. 3 students can read proficiently. They can break the source or what have you. But for the most part, it's just a matter of them rebuilding whatever needs to happen for you to have access to the data source. So get data is our primary deal. Once we get data, then the tables, they come into Power BI over here to the right under the data section. They come into Power BI under the data section. So here we got data and we brought in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different tables. We brought in 5 different tables. Now, the biggest difference when we went to get data, I'm going to show you something here because this is very important. This is very important. I am going to go to get data. I'm going to say text CSV and let's see. It's not there. It may be under my 2025 Power Money Monday. 2025. Let's see. Where is my Power? There we go. Power Money Monday. I go to Power Money Monday. I go to Dodge. I'm going to go to Data Sets. Great. This is what I'm looking for. I am going to go to Dodge Models, and I'm going to select Dodge Models. And that's what the connection looks like. I go to Dodge Models. I select Dodge Models. And it says, no. Apply changes. And Dodge Models just jump right into here. Dodge Dealers, Dodge Models, okay? And I am going to go to the model view. I'm just trying to look at something real quick to make sure I have the right information for you. And that's what I thought it was. That's not the Dodge Models. That was actually a Ford model. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and I'm going to delete, because I renamed that before. So I'm going to go back in. Just bear with me here. You'll see. Get data, text CSV, Dodge Models, apply changes. And let's see here. Now that I deleted it. Let's go back. If that doesn't work, we'll look at this same piece in the next series. I just wanted to make sure, I wanted to show you something. And for some reason, there are pending changes in the queries that haven't been applied. I want to discard the changes. Oh, probably should have kept them. Anyway, that's okay. Let me go over here and look at Dodge Dealers. Yeah, that's cool. So we'll look at Dodge Dealers today rather than looking at Dodge Models. So bottom line is we are going to be looking at Dodge here. We're going to be looking at building out Power BI reports using Dodge. So basically I went to get data. The data came in. The data that we're using here is the data from, we're not going to be using stocks. I'm not going to be looking at the Dodge stocks. But today we're going to be looking at Dodge Dealers. We're going to be looking at Dodge Dealers and sales transactions. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time here because I don't want to bore you. I don't want to bore you guys to death. I know you've been sitting here for a minute. But again, now for those of you guys that are out there on Instagram and Facebook, we are actually live. We're actually having class live here on YouTube. So you can go over to YouTube to Power of the BI. You can go to YouTube, Power of the BI, And you can follow along with us as we are building out this Power BI report. Now, again, the data, I definitely want to let you guys know this data that we're using today in this Power BI report is not official Dodge data. This is data that myself and my team created, fictitious data for the actual or for this Power BI report. But this is not data from Dodge. So I don't want you to go out there and make any wise decisions, buying decisions, stock decisions, anything like that, because that is not what this is meant for. This is for instructional purposes only. So the one thing that I like to do, or the first thing that I like to do when I build a Power BI report is I like to build a table. I like to use the table visual. And basically, and basically with the table visual, it allows me to go in and let's see, if we go over here, this is our report view. Our model view. So in our model view, we're able to see the different pieces of data that's within each one of our tables. So let's just select Dodge dealers. We got a table that's called Dodge dealers. We've got a Dodge sales transaction table. We've got a stock table, but I'm not going to use a stock table. As a matter of fact, just so I don't confuse myself, I'm going to remove that. And it's just a matter of clicking the 3 ellipses. I'm going to delete. That says delete the wrong table. We don't want to do that. We're going to highlight the Dodge current stocks table. We're going to select the 3 ellipses and we're going to delete it from the model. So we have learned today how to at least delete a table from a model that we no longer need. Now, we also see other tables up here that's got the measures in it, a measures table, and we have a calendar table. We're not necessarily going to worry about those 2 tables today. And the thing about those 2 tables, I actually built those tables. Those are actually custom tables. We'll get into that a little later. But right now, what we're going to talk about is creating a table visual in Power BI. Today, we're going to be talking about creating a table visual in Power BI utilizing the Dodge Automotive as a not a data source, but as an example, as a fictitious company that we're using to build out this Power BI report. So what I am going to do is I am going to bring in the table. Of course, I've already brought in the table. Let's look at the Dodge sales transactions table because that's what we had. That's what we had the most data in, was the Dodge sales transaction table. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select dealer ID because we're talking about the dealer experience. When I say dealer ID, basically it's the identification company. It's the store number of that particular Dodge dealership. It's that Dodge dealership's number. So then at that Dodge dealership's number, that dealership has customers. So we're going to bring in the customer ID. Reason why we call it a customer ID is because a customer could have one customer could have one Dodge vehicle. That customer could have 2 or 3 Dodge vehicles, but we want to know everything about that customer. And that customer is probably buying from one particular Dodge dealership, and we want to know who that customer is and how many products that customer has purchased from that particular dealership. Then we're going to bring in the model. What is the model that customer is buying? And these are not Dodge. These are not Dodge models. These are Ford models. So what we're going to do in the next video of this series is we're going to look at how to replace models, well, how to replace information in tables. But right now, it's okay. Again, it's only fictitious data. We're going to bring in the region too, and the dealer is going to be within a region. So we're going to place the region above the dealer. So we've got regions, Midwest, dealer ID, customer ID. We've got the model. And again, we're going to replace those models. Sale date. Let's see. So we'll do sale date after the model. It could be any kind of, it doesn't necessarily have to be in this particular order. but that's how we'll do it here. We're going to call it sale date, and we're going to say, let's say sale price after the model. Then let's say, who is the sales rep? The sales rep is actually going to come from the dealer. So we're going to place a sales rep. And I don't want to confuse anyone. This is not rocket science. I am just placing it in the order that I want to place it in. I don't want you to get confused at all when it comes to building out a table in any other visual in Power BI. If you're in the automotive industry, you already have some idea what this really looks like. The reason, we've got the region, then we've got, let's put state above the region. And basically it's allowing, when I say above the region, it's placing it, not above the region, we're placing it above the dealer ID, below the region. So then we've got region, then we've got state, then we've got the dealer ID, then we got the sales rep, the customer ID, the model, the price, the sale date, the transaction ID. We're going to place that after the price. And it's no rhyme or reason why I'm placing, well, it is a rhyme or reason, but it's not necessarily that important. And I'm going to place vehicle ID right above the model. Well, you know what? Let's do it. Let's do the vehicle ID after the model, right? So there's some rhyme or reason there, but at the end of the day, it's a matter of you understanding the business that you are in and how you're trying to build out that particular Power BI report. Again, this is a simple table here in Power BI. It's a simple table in Power BI. We're using the Dodge Automobile, the Dodge Auto Company, whatever. But again, this data is fictitious data, and you can tell by the model that we have here that it's fictitious data, right? And we are going to replace that. We're going to replace that data in a future. You know what? Let me look here real quick. I want to see. I believe I already have this data for Dodge Power BI. Let's see. What I want to do is I want to go ahead on and replace this data if need be. Well, if we can, I believe I already have it. I'm just trying to double check just so that we are all on the same page. I don't want you to go away and be like, oh, that's not a Dodge car. That's a such and such car. Let's see. Da, 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 da. And I know I have, here we go. And I know. Yeah, if you're not, it was that's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, I believe. And Dodge, I do. So let's see here. I'm gonna go to, that's not what I want to do. I want to go to get data, and I'm going to say Excel, and for some reason that is not popping up as Excel, so I'm gonna save it as a CS. Sometimes, oh, I see what happened. It's not open, it's not an Excel, it's not open in Excel, it's open as a CSV. And sometimes that happens. Let's see, get data, text CSV, Dodge models. It keeps telling me I have pending queries. That's throwing me off. Let's go over here. Let's see something. Let's go. When I got a pending query, and I'm trying to figure out what is the pending query. So I'm going to go to home. I'm going to go to transform data. I'm going to go to transform, and transform. That is showing up on my other screen that you are not able to see. So I am not going to play with that because I do not want to lose you here on the screen. But I am definitely going to get that worked out for the next go around because I do believe that that is hyper important. But anyway, let me move myself back over and go back to the table, and we have the table visual. Let's see how much time we've put in here. So in this particular class, we're already at 40 minutes. I'm not going to go too much further than here. So what I am going to do is we're going to shut this down here. We're going to come back next week, and we're going to bring in another visual, another Power BI visual, probably even a couple of more. It just depends. But I just want to make sure that you are able to get the full benefit of everything that we're doing here, and not necessarily me trying to blow so fast through here that you don't understand what is going on, right? So today we have created a, am I on screen? Yeah, I'm on screen. Today we have created a visual, a table visual in Power BI. And we've identified something within the table, which is we have a product within this table that does not belong to this particular company. So we know now that we need to take this, we need to replace this before the customer comes back and sees that we have some bad information in here. Because once we show bad information, it makes it hard for the customer to trust us. And when it comes to the data business, we're in the trusting game. We're in the trusting game. So when it comes to the data business, once they see one time that they can't trust us, or they believe that they cannot trust us, or they can't trust the data that we're presenting, from that point on, everything is questionable. And we never want to be questioned when it comes to the data. We want to be spot on when it comes to the data. But I thank you guys for giving me this 45 minutes here. But we are going to shut this thing down, because I do not want to bore you guys today. I know you've put a lot of work in. For those of you guys that are going to be at Power of the BI Live in Dallas in a couple of weeks, I look forward to seeing you live and in person. For those of you guys that are not going to be able to make it, that's okay. We are actually looking at putting Power of the BI Live on the road. We're looking at putting Power of the BI Live on the road here in the next few months. After May, I will let you know. As a matter of fact, it's not even after May. So here's the deal. I already know Power of the BI. I don't want to say that because we still have the Power of the BI Live coming up in Dallas, and I don't want to confuse anyone. So here's the deal. For those of you guys that are going to be a Power of the BI Live in Dallas in a couple of weeks, I look forward to seeing you there. For those of you guys that are not able to make it to Power of the BI Live in Dallas, that is totally okay. But I'm telling you, we're going to have a grand old time. But anyway, once again, thank you for joining in, and I look forward to seeing you again in the next video.